All right, it is time for a super quick rapid reaction as the national championship game is wrapping up. The Ohio State Buckeyes are the national champions. Kind of breaking down the game, it was a dominant performance for a while for Ohio State, especially in that first half, right? They played a much worse second half than they did a first half. In that first half, 4 for 4, or would have been 3 for 3 on touchdown drives. And then after that first drive, he pretty much stopped everything Notre Dame had going. The second half, much more competitive. Notre Dame kind of mounts a somewhat of a comeback and is able to start. Oh, my camera's messed up. Make it competitive and actually make it interesting there at the end, even having, a third down and 11 where if they get the stop, they're going to have a shot to tie the game up. And then man coverage, Jeremiah Smith, of course, beats his guy. And that was kind of story throughout the game, right? Notre Dame just felt like they were just couldn't make the key play. Even and I say that, there were plays that they did make, especially the turnover. Great House especially stepped up as a wide receiver. And actually, real quick, I want to talk about Great House. I just thought it was worth mentioning because in the Penn State game, like he went off, was their best player. I talked about how much he stepped up. And then in this game, it felt like they waited so long until he finally was getting his name called. And then once he got his name called, you heard it time and time again. But I thought that was a guy they were going to go to early and often, and it felt like they waited, and it was something they should have been looking to exploit more throughout the game. Ohio State, they used Jeremiah Smith effectively, Ekbuka, even though he fumbled, Carnell Tate. All these receivers were winning their matchups, and the run game was there with Henderson and Judkins and even Will Howard on the ground. And overall, Ohio State just had more talent. What is going on behind me? Just had more talent than Notre Dame, and they just made more plays, and that's how you win a national championship game. For Notre Dame, I mean, it's not all negative. I thought you showed a lot of fight and like picking yourself up off the mat, and you clawed your way back to the game. It was just a little bit, or it was just too little, too late. But definitely, I thought a respectable performance considering what happened early. And where it went wrong for you really started on that second drive because right, that first drive was exactly what you wanted, and then that second drive, you start with the passing play. It doesn't go very well, and then on the second play after that, you get the false start, and it's just all downhill from that. And then you run, I think, only 9 plays the rest of the first half, and that's it kind of just collapses in on itself. Disappointing for me as someone who's rooting for Notre Dame. Definitely don't like Michigan State, Ohio State. Man, I'm tired. So it's disappointing to see that. I'm kind of watching the wrap up ceremony to my right. And this was a team I doubted for a large stretch of the season. I picked Oregon to beat them in the regular season, and I picked Michigan, and then I picked Oregon to beat them in the college football playoff, and I picked Texas to beat them. I did think they would win this game, but I doubted them throughout the season despite the talent because I thought quarterback play may let them down or just overall their inability to show up in some of their bigger spots. But I was wrong, right? In every big game they showed out. Will Howard especially was maybe the best quarterback in this tournament, but certainly was up there and played his best stretch of football I've ever seen him play in this college football playoff. And I wanted to kind of discuss the if this validates the 12-team playoff or what you guys think of that because Ohio State, when the 14 playoff came out, was able to sneak in as the fourth team in the tournament, even though I thought a team like Baylor, TCU should have been in, right? Mainly TCU. Ohio State gets in, wins the whole thing, kind of proves, right, the 4-team expansion for a lot of people that this was a good idea. I wonder if that's how people are going to discuss the 12-team. Like, look, this team got in and they won the whole thing. Because from my point of view, this is kind of exactly what I didn't want to see in the 12-team playoff. I don't want to see a team lose your 2 biggest games of the season, right? You lose the biggest matchup to Oregon and you lose the rivalry game to Michigan, your 2 biggest games of the season. So to me, this is a team that had a failure of a season. You lost to your biggest rival. That was your main goal. After losing 3 straight, you had to beat Michigan. That was the goal. You failed at that. So the first goal is to beat Michigan. You don't do that. The second goal is to reach the Big Ten championship. You don't do that. So to me, this is a team that had a failure of a season and then is given this third opportunity to compete in a playoff. And I never doubted Ohio State had the talent to make this type of run, but I just don't believe a team that had that level season should get this chance. Notre Dame, like, I don't mind the one loss. It's really when you just have objectively a failure season, like, I don't really think you deserve a chance to play for a national title. So for me, this is what I don't like about the 12 team playoff. But counter side is, you include these teams, you prove there's all these teams, like a team like Ohio State, you give them the chance they could win it. I think that's true. It's just not what I want to see in college football. So that kind of wraps up my quick reaction thoughts on this. Notre Dame, it was a great season. I thought Marcus Freeman proved he's a great coach. Riley Leonard played his heart out. All these guys did a I mean, you fought hard. It's just you were kind of overmatched, injuries throughout the season, and then a talent deficit hurt you there. I thought there were things in game plan, like I mentioned, using Great House more, sticking with the run early, not getting away from it, and then defensively, it just didn't work out against this Ohio State team that just seemed to click down the stretch. Overall, it was a great college football season. I really enjoyed doing videos. I'll be making off-season content. I'll be making more sports content, so look for all that in the future. Make sure to leave a like on the video, subscribe to help me grow the channel. Until next time.